Yo, what is up, gladiators? I have Awesome here back with another video, and today I actually want to make a video that I feel it's been a long time coming, and it is kind of it's not a guide. So first things first, this is not a guide on Jiren. I will have some tips and my opinions on some of these changes, but it's not going to be a guide to some optimal stuff or exact specifics of everything. But I feel like as a longtime Jiren main, or I played Jiren ever since he came out. He hasn't always been on the main, but he's been at the very minimum on my secondary team along with base Goku ever since they came out. So I feel like I'm pretty knowledgeable about the character. I don't think I'm one of the best Jirens out there. Same thing with the best Goku, or same thing with base Goku. But I'd say I'm pretty knowledgeable of the character and a somewhat decent enough player. But anyways, in this video, I wanted to really talk about his changes. And I know at first a lot of people thought, oh man, I can't believe they nerfed Jiren, especially like on a more casual level. With his changes to his little try something, people thought, oh no, they ruined this, which yeah, it can be disheartening, but it's nowhere near as a big deal as it once was. If anything, Jiren is a much stronger character. But in this video, I'm gonna be talking about why, and let's get right into it. The first big, I guess, bombshell with Jiren was this nerf to this counter impact. Which most people, their gripes with it was, at first at least, oh no, it doesn't counter grabs anymore, blah blah blah. Which, that was fine to me. I did not care. I didn't really use it to counter grabs. I could every now and then, Broly would throw out an EX command grab, and I'm just, no, just do that. Which, it was nice, it was cool. But it wasn't the end of the world when they took it away. It kind of shouldn't have been there in the first place. But the nerf on it that did happen was this. If you don't know this, well, I'm doing myself a disservice, but yeah. So as you saw right there, you can just 2H it. You've probably already seen stuff like this on Twitter, but you can just 2H Jiren out of his counter impact, which is the name of the move. If you just throw in that 2H preemptively, you can't. I don't think you can 2S it with Jiren, but with any character, they all have 2Hs. Just hit him like that, send him to the sky, and that's a pretty big deal, You do have to do it preemptively, so you can't wait for him to get up to you and then do it. I probably shouldn't be giving out this kind of information as a Jiren main, especially because I've still been using this move, even though I think that nerf is huge. If someone knows the Jiren matchup, like, there's nothing really you can do about it. Obviously, I can vanish out of it before it hits, but it's a pretty big deal. You can just, yoink him out of that counter impact, as long as you're staying on the ground, as long as you're staying on the ground. But yeah, like my friend that knows the Jiren matchup, he the one that actually found this on Twitter, he whenever I do that, just boom, 2H me, and that's a pretty big deal for Jiren, especially because the way I like to use Jiren was he'll slow down neutral, counter everything, and then when you're too scared to do anything, I just bully you with these ki blasts. But now that's not as easy to do. But this change. So the reason this happens is because the follow-up on the counter impact is considered an airborne move. So that's why you 2H it. But there is a positive to this, which I think is pretty good. Honestly, I don't mind it too much with this trade-off. So the trade-off is if someone, well, I don't know if it's an intentional trade-off, but maybe this was to negate this. So what used to be able to happen is whenever Jiren counters you, you can jump out of it. Right there, I would have jumped out of it. But now that they changed it, now that it's an air move, you cannot jump out of it. So the common situation that I find, or that I would find before, is someone's approaching me, they know the Jiren matchup, I counter them, and they just jump on over and everything's fine. Maybe every now and then they'll get a punish on me. But now that this change has happened, say, obviously you can still vanish out of it if you have the meter for it, but if you don't have the meter for it, and then Jiren counters you, like this, you can't do anything about it. You have to hold that hit, and honestly, I like that. I like that because having a checkmate situation with this try something is a pretty nice feature You know, so obviously there still might be other answers to this if you have an air DP or if you have an air super, but that's just my thoughts on that move, and it's a pretty big deal. Also being able to call assist after it and after all of the counters, I don't mind the trade-off too much. I kind of would rather them not let it be 2Hable, but I'm pretty sure that has to do, I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt and say that that was so you couldn't jump out of it anymore. And that just happened to be an unintended side effect. See, right there I would have jumped out of it, but if this was a pre-patched Jiren. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the counter impact, and this is the rest of my thoughts on the other moves. Okay, a couple slight changes to Jiren. Not even slight. They were slight changes, but they've made big impacts, if that makes any sense. So the buff to this is faster. That's pretty cool. It's a little weird in some situations with UI Goku. Like now, you used to be able to 2S UI Goku, now you can't, but that's fine because at least you have a 2H. You unfortunately lose corner, but whatever. But the bigger thing about this is it's faster, and the big thing about this is also faster. And then this, you can actually, you know, that counters super dash, any kind of aerial move, and you can go into a special right after, which is very, very big. So an example of a situation that would happen before is, so someone super dashes, you get a combo like this. This is kind of like your best option, really. I mean, obviously in the corner, you can do a little bit more. You know, you can go for something like this, and then, you know, get an assist call. Try to do whatever you must, do whatever you can. But now with the big changes to him, there's a new combo routes like this. Obviously this costs Spark, and I dropped the combo, but you know, this is pretty big for Jiren because that route didn't exist before, and now Jiren has access to all of this damage he didn't before. And I'm sorry that my health bars and stuff aren't up at the top. I kind of just wanted to focus on the actual here, let me turn on those health bars for you right now in the middle of the video, so you can see the kind of damage that you have access to. Okay, cool. The health bar gets back. Look at that. Look at that damage. That was a mystery for me too. Look at that insane damage. I could probably push that to TOD, but you know, that's just the proof of concept. And then also like this, I glazed over it earlier, but if you, as you can see here, you just boom 2S. I think you can even call an assist, and you also get a ground bounce off of it in the corner. So here's new routes like this. Do all of this stuff, and then boom, call assist, and you get even more damage on top of that. Here's like a kind of like a TOD route. This could TOD, I think, if I have Gogeta level 2 or something. I probably need a little bit more, but just look at this route right here. It's a nice little extension to the bread and butter that I used to do with Jiren. And then boom, call Gogeta. And obviously I also run base QB, so I have access to more meter. And just look at that. Look at that insane damage. That's no spark. Only 5 bars of meter span. I think it builds 2 bars. Even 3 bars if you add base Goku into the mix with my base QB. Which is just insane. The damage potential that Jiren already had and now that he has now. And that's another thing with Jiren is I would like having, because the combo routes that I do, they leave me in the air like this. Yeah, I'll show you. Yeah, something like this. This is like one of the older routes I do, and I used to run Bluku. I'd run Bluku C because Bluku C could reach up there, and I'd go for a full combo. But with this gives Jiren access to so many more assists that he can actually work with well. Because obviously I've been running Gogeta Jiren for a while, but just stuff like that, it really gives Jiren the tool set to be one of the best just anywhere on the screen. He can be at point. Have some good people behind him. He can be at mid with this amazing assists, and then the tag in too. You can even put him at anchor if you really feel inclined to, because another change is that little, you know, uppercut. I know I'm pretty late to these changes. I mean, obviously I cover these changes when they happen, but now that it's marinated and set in, I really just want to discuss my thoughts of him in the current state that he is in after, you know, some time has gone by. And I really think he's one of the best characters. Well, obviously not like a top 5 character, but definitely I'd say he's in the contention for the top 10, if not at the bare minimum top 15 area, because of all the stuff he has going for him. The only thing that kind of sucks is I feel like if you know the matchup, this move is, it can be useless. It can be useless. It can be very, very, you know, pointless to throw out. But you know, if you kind of get your stuff straight and get the situation appropriate, you can make this a checkmate kind of move to where your opponent is stuck in this position where they can't really do much. Obviously, there's always layers, you know, Vanish, Spark, AR DPs, but if you can whittle them down to where all of these things are gone, this is still pretty viable in the air at high level play, I'd presume. And then sometimes people just, they don't react. They're not fast enough. If they know about the 2H, they don't react fast enough, or they're not ready. And by the time you are ready, it can become an RPS. Like someone had UI Goku, and I came in, they tried to 2H, and I just vanished preemptively, and I was behind them. And then, you know, UI Goku flips up, and then boom, I got a full punish. So there's a lot of creativity. That's what I like about video games, what I like about fighting games, or especially this fighting game. So that they gave Jiren a lot more creativity and freedom is really fun for me. I like it. I hope that if you did drop Jiren, or if you're on the fence, because I know a lot of people are picking up Jiren, Hook's playing Jiren. If you're on the fence about Jiren, hopefully this can convince you to pick him up or give him another try if you dropped him, because I honestly think he's one of the best states he's been in. Obviously, Rip, try something, Rip counter impact, but it's fine. You know, we live and we manage, you know. Oh wait, one last change before I end the video is this right here. I know I keep saying this right here, but you cannot counter it anymore. I should have countered it, and you used to be able to counter it with Jiren. I don't know if that's a buffer enough. It's like a, oh, I pronounced nerf really weird right there. It's like a burf. It's a buff and a nerf. It's so weird, but I guess it makes sense. So like the Jiren that did it first gets the hit, but I mean, now Jiren versus Jiren matchup isn't as straightforward, because normally when I play into the Jiren, we're for them to counter me and then I counter them, and then I'm big brain and they're not. But yeah, it's funny. Look, even if I had it out all the way earlier, it still doesn't come out. But either way, guys, that's gonna be all for this video. Let me know what you thought about it. It's pretty off the cuff, not your usual breakdown or guide. Just kind of just, you know, what I think about Jiren in his current state and his current changes. But yeah, leave a like, leave a comment, share this video with your friends if they also are considering Jiren, or if they're a Jiren main. Also, if there's anything that I missed, any big changes that haven't already been covered, I feel like these were kind of niche. I know a lot of them have been covered, but they're still a little bit niche, and I took a little bit of a deeper dive in them. But if there is anything major that I missed, feel free to leave it in the comments. And until next time, peace out, stay awesome.